Imagine that there was one man whose appearance on any front made Hitler know that the battle had become more dangerous for Germany. He was not a president or a political leader, but a military commander named Georgy Zhukov, the man who led some of the Soviet Union's most important victories and played a decisive role in the defeat of Nazi Germany. Zhukov was born in 1896 into a poor family. He joined the Imperial Russian Army and later the Red Army after the Russian Revolution. Thanks to his discipline and his ability to command troops under the most difficult conditions, he rose quickly through the ranks and eventually became one of the Soviet Union's most prominent commanders. When Operation Barbarossa began in 1941, the Soviets suffered a devastating shock. During the Battle of Kiev in 1941, one of the greatest military disasters in history took place. Huge Soviet forces were surrounded, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers were killed or captured. Zhukov had warned Stalin about the danger of continuing to defend Kiev and proposed withdrawing the troops to avoid encirclement. But Stalin rejected the idea and insisted that the city must not be abandoned. After the disaster, Zhukov's position appeared to have been closer to the correct military assessment, and his warning against holding Kiev became one of the most famous disagreements between him and Stalin. After that, Zhukov was given the task of defending Moscow. He organized defensive lines and led Soviet forces in the counteroffensive that stopped the German advance before the capital. Then came the battle that changed the course of the war, Stalingrad. Zhukov was not the direct commander of the fighting inside the city. That responsibility largely belonged to General Vasily Zhukov. But Zhukov was one of the principal commanders involved in planning Operation Uranus, the plan that targeted the flanks of the German forces, which were being protected by Romanian troops that were less well equipped than the German formations. In November 1942, the Soviet offensive began. Within only a few days, the encirclement around the German Sixth Army, commanded by Friedrich Paulus, was complete. More than 200,000 German soldiers, along with Axis troops, found themselves trapped around Stalingrad. Hitler refused to allow Paulus to withdraw. Attempts to supply the trapped forces by air failed, and the battle ended with the surrender of the Sixth Army in February 1943, in one of the harshest defeats suffered by the Wehrmacht during the war. After Stalingrad, Zhukov continued to command and participate in some of the Soviet Union's most important operations. He contributed to the Soviet victory at the Battle of Kursk, then commanded the Soviet advance during the Vistula-Oder offensive, and finally led the assault on Berlin. Soviet forces advanced into the Reichstag building and raised the Soviet flag above it, creating one of the most famous images of the end of the war in Europe. Zhukov was not simply a general who